All right. So one of the things I feel like a lot of people focus on and or um, just gets a lot of airtime is toxic masculinity. And we all know it's legitimate. It's not necessarily every man, of course. They all say that, not every man. And it's true. But there is a lot of pushback and resistance to the patriarchy, the man. And as there is truth to toxic masculinity, I want to also shine some light on toxic femininity. Now, this is a less popular topic because the big, you know, um, badge of honor right now is feminist, um, empowered woman. Uh, you know, I will go ahead and admit I do not identify with feminist. I really never have. Um, that is kind of controversial in itself because as a woman, you're expected to just, you know, wear this badge of honor very proudly. But I want to say that the feminist movement here recently, the past, I don't know, maybe decade, maybe less, I don't know. But it's those, I'm outside, so forgive me. Um, it has gotten to the point where it's less about empowered feminine and more about fuck the patriarchy. It's more about men are beneath me, men are trash. And that's not everyone, that's not a blanket statement, but that's generally the movement I see, and I don't love it. And it's funny because I was identified as lesbian for so many years, you'd think I'd be like the perfect candidate because I wasn't a huge fan of men. And like anyone who's watched my videos could see that I was not the biggest fan on multiple of us, not just romantic or physical, but like in general, I did have a superiority complex when it came to men and women when I first started hanging out with Sean. And it's funny because we butted heads because he had been wounded in his past by the feminine, and so we kind of both came at each other with like women and men. It was pretty comical actually looking back. And I will say I've healed a lot of the resistance I've had to men. But when I say toxic femininity, I want to define it better as it's women acting from a wound. Okay? So as women, most of us have been transgressed, what's the word? Give me a second. Have been disrespected, have been okay, sorry about that. I let these dogs in because distraction. So most women have been scorned. That's a good word. Have been scorned by men in some way, shape, or form, whether it be their family, their fathers, whatever male role in their life, and or partners. For me, initially, it was the media that had convinced me that men were kind of users, abusers, manipulative, all that, which, like I said, it's not wrong. There are plenty of men that fall in those categories. But I feel that the toxic femininity is rooted in a wound. And it's basically the women who are fuck men. They feel entitled to a sense of respect, even though they don't want to give it. They want to stomp around and get big and then be upset for when men aren't just complacent and apologetic. Like, they want a sense of guilt from men. But I will tell you that you're not going to get a sense of guilt from men who aren't toxic, because, they'll feel compassion, but it's not their burden to carry, okay? Most men are not your abusers. Most men have nothing to do with your wounds. the extreme independent woman, the woman who doesn't need any help and who can do it all on her own, and I don't fucking need you. Like, I get it. It makes you feel safer because you're not vulnerable. You're not open to letting someone disappoint you, because that's really the essence of what that wound is just being disappointed and let down by the masculine in your life. I have goosebumps. So I would love for women to really look at those big feelings, the big feelings they have when it comes to men, or to just the relationship with masculine in general. Masculinity is not bad. Certain aspects of it have been like idolized, as far as macho shit, big ego, alpha male kind of stuff. But like a true alpha male, like a real one that doesn't claim he is, because the ones that claim they are usually are not. They just have to beat their chest, you know. But true alpha males don't need to prove themselves with anger. They don't need to prove themselves with an extreme source or a show of power. They don't have to be the biggest person in the room to feel powerful. They don't. So I invite you to look into your wounds and to say, is this resistance to the masculine, is it serving me? Is it actually helping? Or is it just kind of further irritating this wound that's never going to get healed because I keep resisting the feelings that it takes to heal it? So do some really deep inner work and forgive the ones who've disappointed you. Not for them. And I know that forgiveness is a weird topic in the spiritual community, because people will say, I don't need to forgive them. You can choose not to. But the whole purpose of forgiving is to allow your subconscious to relax, to make peace. Has nothing or very little to do with the other person, and more to do with, I'm releasing this because it's not serving me, it's not helping me, it's not pushing me forward, it's not helping me grow, it's just making me feel small, making me feel like I have to get big because I feel small. So that's just my little TED Talk, I guess, on toxic femininity. And I feel like there's more aspects I could bring up on this topic, but maybe if I come to more ideas, I'll maybe make a part 2 or something. But that's just something I thought is not talked about very often, and I feel like it's very important to seek balance. You can be feminine and still embody your masculine. I don't know if anyone knows that, but like, as humans, we have both qualities. We have our feminine and our masculine. And so many women are either completely in the feminine and making themselves weak and victimized by it, or they're too in the masculine and they're like that whole beating on your chest kind of thing. And you got to find some kind of balance. You know, you got to find this middle ground of like, I can be strong when I need to, and I can also be soft when I want to, right? So embody both, and don't resist the masculine. The masculine, if you make peace with the masculine from your past and own that you can go forward and attract the more divine masculine, the more centered and wise masculine, the logical, the grounded, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised what you might be able to change your mind about some men. Because I will say, I did get blessed with a good one. I will go ahead and give Sean some props real quick and say that I feel like we both were toxic when we both had toxic qualities when we got, I don't want to say that we got together, but when we started being friends. We were friends for a couple years before anything happened. And through reflection of each other, so through like him reflecting back at me where I'm wounded and I'm being triggered and I'm lashing out, and vice versa, we have grown such respect for each other and this appreciation for like the growth that we've both shared in this relationship, because instead of fighting against each other, we are now working together to conquer, not to push each other apart or to be above one another. So it's pretty beautiful. I'm very thankful. So not all men are bad. Just because you feel so passionate about the feminist movement doesn't necessarily mean it comes from a righteous place. And I'll just leave it at that for now.